Hi, I'm Mark from Tabula, and today I'm going to show you the second essential component to make life-changing tacos. Today is mostly about perfectly dicing onions, but I'm also going to show you how to do cilantro and make perfect lime wedges. Now, there are no shortage of videos online about how to dice an onion, like this one from Gordon Ramsay. It has over 6.5 million views, and it's the most popular one on YouTube. So when I first started to teach cooking, I had this idea that I was going to teach cooking on video, and someone asked me, well, why would anybody want to watch you when they could watch someone famous like Gordon Ramsay? And at first I was highly offended, but then I took a minute and thought, well, gosh, maybe they're right. So I searched online and tried to find a video of Gordon Ramsay teaching, and this onion video came up. He does a horrible job teaching. He is not a good teacher. He's a highly entertaining chef. He has a cool accent. People love to watch him. He has many shows and many restaurants that are all great. I think he's a great guy. His teaching skills are not solid. So my one and only goal in this video today is to make a better video on how to dice an onion than Gordon Ramsay. Did I set the bar too high? I honestly don't think so. That video is pretty terrible. Take a minute and watch it if you haven't. Now, this technique I'm about to show you really hinges on having a nice sharp knife. And if you don't, you're gonna end up having, really weird looking onion and kind of just a mess on your hands. You might end up frustrated or even get injured by having the knife slip off and cut yourself. So if your knife isn't currently sharp, go ahead and take a look at this video that I made on how to sharpen a knife. There's a common misconception that the sharpness of a knife is just inherent to that knife. You're like, oh, I don't own a sharp knife. Well, that can easily be changed. A cheap knife can be sharpened, and a more expensive knife can be dulled. So if you don't have the world's nicest knife, don't count yourself out. Take a minute, sharpen your knife, and then I'll see you back here in a minute. And in case you didn't gather from the title of the video, we will need onions, limes, and cilantro. Okay, the first step is to peel the onion. So I'm going to begin by taking the top off here and cutting through the root end, like that. When we make a dice of an onion, we're looking for a cube, and a cube is a three-dimensional object, so we have to cut in 3 dimensions. Typically, the knife goes parallel to the cutting board, either as a first or a second step, and then you'll go this way across the onion, and then you'll go that way, and that would be 3 dimensions. I'm going to show you a legit trick you have never seen before. I'm going to start by doing the simple downward, and I'm going to go in about 1/8 inch or so intervals. This might be about 1/4 of an inch, but pretty small. We want a really nice fine dice for this taco. We don't want to have huge bites of onion that we're biting into. Here's what's going to get different. I'm going to actually find that middle one, cut it right in half. I'm going to flip this onion on its side. This one is going to go on its side as well. I'm going to bring it around and reconnect it so I have something to hold on to. And now that I've turned it, all the cuts are facing this direction. So it's as if I've already brought my knife across parallel to the cutting board, but I've never done that, and I'm much safer. I'm going to go again in this direction. And holding it back together if need be with my thumb here. Now I have all my cuts going in this direction, all my cuts that have gone in this direction, and all I need to do is finish by going on top here. I need to really hold the onion together so it doesn't fall apart at this last moment, but if I use some really gentle pressure and use just the sharpness of the blade to cut through, check that out. Perfect, perfect, perfect dice. This is far superior to Gordon Ramsay. If you copy what I did, you will have diced an onion better than Gordon Ramsay. How cool is that? And unlike Gordon, I'm going to throw away these little last bits here because that probably costs about 6 cents or less total. And I'm left with absolutely perfect onions, and I'm not going to be crying as much if I stay away from the root there. These are incredible. Now, they're still pretty pungent, but I want them to not be quite so harsh and strong tasting. So I'm going to bring these over to the sink in a fine mesh strainer, and I'm going to rinse them. And this couldn't be any easier. I'm just going to rinse these for about 60 seconds. I'm using my hottest tap water here because it just goes a little bit faster. And you can just swish them around with your fingers, and they're going to be done here really soon. You can already see they're changing color a little bit. They look a little more translucent, and that means that they're done. They're going to be much more mellow and sweet tasting. Next, we're going to make the most perfect lime wedges of all time. We're going to cut off the top and the bottom of the lime, just a little bit of it to expose all the segments there. And then I can see what I'm doing and get right into the middle of the lime by flipping it up like that, cutting directly in half that direction. I also have stability here, and I can do that one more time and cut it into now fourths. I'll do it on both sections. And I've cut directly in the center here. So that looks okay. These are just fine. But to make them far superior to other limes that you've seen around, we're going to stand them up again and come across and get rid of that little membrane that's right in the center there. This piece is just going to go away, and it's going to create such a more beautiful looking lime. And now you can leave the lime either just like this, or you can cut it in half one more time depending on what size you want to get. This looks pretty perfect to me. The squeezing is going to be a lot better. It's going to go directly onto the food and not have the tendency to shoot out and get in your eye. And finally, cilantro. This is going to be quite straightforward, but we're just going to get rid of any funky looking pieces that have started to die or break down. Obviously that does not look pretty at all. We want to get rid of all those guys. And if there's any more, I'll pull those out. I've already trimmed the bottom of these stems here so that they don't have that discolored bit on there anymore. So now it's super straightforward. I'm just going to mince everything. Most herbs, you would not want the stem. You would want to pick all the leaves off the stem and leave the stems for the trash can or compost. But cilantro stems have a great flavor, so it is not a problem to leave these in and just mince everything. So you can just go to town, mince all the way across here, gather everything up, come across the other direction. And that looks quite nice. This is all ready to go. Well, that's it for today. You learned how to make a better diced onion than Gordon Ramsay. Take that in for a minute. That's pretty incredible. And we learned how to make perfect lime wedges and how to mince cilantro really nicely. Next week, I'll show you how to make insanely delicious carnitas. I'll see you then. There are really only 3 secrets that you need to know to immediately have a huge head start on becoming a great home cook. You can have instant access to my free mini course by visiting tabula.cooking. I'll see you there.